Lab After Dark is starting shortly. Lab After Dark is starting soon. Lab After Dark is starting soon.
Right.
Well, you opened that Pandora's door.
I was actually just sitting down to pee, but whatever, you know.
What's the point in causing the eruption?
Lab After Dark starts now.
What's up? What's happening? How's everybody doing? Good to see you. Good to be here. Welcome to Lab After Dark. The mic's good. Volume's good. I don't know. Is it? It might be. It might not be. Somebody did say, can you turn your volume up in the comments? And I actually do want to be respectful of that because I actually do care about people being able to hear. So if my mic's too low, I don't think it is. I've checked. But I do actually, that is something that I do care about. The intro, I care about that too, but a little less. And I care what you think, I promise. How dare you? Volume's good, volume's better. Like I said, hold on, let me throw the... Yeah, but you can turn your volume up too. That's what that's one of the things that I don't understand. But if I was low, honestly, I apologize. Yeah, I'm sure. You turned me up and you couldn't hear it. That sucks. Honestly, I do apologize about that. Not my. Yeah, was the next channel better than me too? Was it more entertaining? Probably. More entertaining and better volume. But don't forget that that was your second choice. So it was low last night? Is that what I'm getting from people? It was. All right. Well, I apologize about that. That's never my intention. But there you go. All right, cool. Yeah, sorry. I didn't know. Seeing more. Oh. Well, but look, I want the volume to be fine. That is something that actually does truly matter to me. And I apologize about that. But it wasn't just one person though. I heard it from a few. And I apologize about that. Tonight's good. Okay, good. I'm glad. Good to see everybody. Welcome again to Lab After Dark. Please don't send me any more emails about Bullhorn Betty and Dolly if I think they hooked up or not. I think that I've probably received at least 4 and a couple of direct messages asking. I mean, there are some things that honestly, I swear that I do not care about. I promise you. That's one of them. I don't care. I don't want to know, man. I really don't. There are just some things that are just better left, sometimes it's okay to sweep stuff under the rug. All right. I want to say that. And I just, now Dolly's response to it was quite hilarious. When confronted with it, his response was he doesn't remember. Okay, great. That's probably never going to suffice. But if I was him, I wouldn't have even addressed it. But, he doesn't remember. That's what he said. I heard. I don't personally, to be honest with you, I don't actually care. But I didn't even know. I didn't even know that this was something that was going on. But he has been with his girlfriend for quite some time now, hasn't he? So I don't really know why that. People just want to just get into everybody's shit. They want everybody to know about it's not. I don't know who put it out there, but I'm like, nah, I'm cool. I don't care. Although his response was quite funny. Yeah, you know what? I'm not really sure. I'm not really, honestly, I'm not really sure who was banging who or who was, but, you know, it's interesting to see people's reaction when confronted with something like that. But I don't know how that's going to, it's not really going to change my life in any way. It's not going to change yours. The only people's lives that it's going to change would be the people that were doing the whatever. Meaning, I mean, maybe it doesn't, you know, there's no baby or anything. It was, of course it was, a gossiping little bitch that he is. I mean, he is the biggest little gossiper that has ever crawled the face of the earth. Just a slithering, yellow bellied, just bald, you know, big eared drama queen. And I say that in the biggest, I say that in the biggest way possible. So that doesn't surprise me. And I'm not really sure why it's I'm not sure why it's his business. We don't talk about all the guys you banged in prison, do we? White boy? No, we don't. We absolutely do not. You big-eared dork. It was the deposition from the lawsuit. They put it out. Well, White Boy's been saying that shit for a long time, though. You know, and now it's like come back up again. And, you know, because White Boy is the epitome of all things holy. And, you know, he's the one that feels entitled to spread people's business because he's a wash man. Yes, I didn't even know that, but I just can't stand that guy. Yeah, I'm indifferent with Dolly and I'm indifferent with Betty. They don't bother me. I don't bother them. You care if they? I don't care what they did. Yeah, and once Keith Urban and Nicole Kidman, is love not sacred? Is there anything sacred in marriage anymore? The sanctity of marriage is gone if Nicole Kidman and Keith Urban can't make it as a couple. We're doomed as a society. You know, a country star and somebody that dated Tom Cruise for years. You know. Although I do I like both Keith Urban and Nicole Kidman. I know I was kidding. I was dramatic, you know, for effect. He cheated on her. God, she's so pretty too. Why would you like I mean, I don't know her personally, but she seems like, I don't know. Maybe she's a monster. Maybe he's a monster. Maybe they're both monsters. How the hell am I supposed to know? I don't know. Who knows? Oh, she's excellent. Yeah, pretty. Is that a bad word? You're not supposed to call people pretty anymore? I wouldn't have thought of that. So I have to call her beautiful? I have to call her. She's very pretty. Yes, she's very pretty. I'm bummed. I'm bummed because I think, I don't know. Look, man, she dated Tom Cruise. That guy scares me legitimately. Like, I would be nervous around Tom Cruise. I don't know why. I'm not saying like I would be scared, you know, to, you know, sleep on my back around him. I'm just saying that I would just be weird. I would feel weird about it. Who was married? Okay, well, what? Even worse. Even worse. Okay, yeah. So they were married. Sorry, I was like 12 when that happened. Forgive me. Even worse. Dating and marriage like the same thing these days. There is no sanctity of marriage. Trust me. I wish there were, but there's not, and I'm living proof of that. I'm glad we see something differently. But yeah, it would be weird if I was asleep around Tom Cruise, but I wish I was called pretty too. I am not bitter about I'm not bitter about marriage in any way. I just think that when people always tell me, well, the sanctity of marriage, and I go, man, like, I think that there is supposed to be something, sanctimonious about it. But what is it, like 60% of all marriages end in divorce? And I'm sure that if you go back through time, for some reason that it's probably the numbers got higher the later you get, like probably divorce wasn't, well, I'm sure it wasn't, because unfortunately women didn't have the same kind of rights that they do now, and were thought of as more of like property, I guess. In a lot of circumstances, not all circumstances. But, I don't care if people get divorced. It's better than killing your partner. I mean, that's really, I respect that a lot more. Yeah, and a lot of people enjoy being single. There's a lot of people that just feel like it's not worth it anymore, or that they've had whatever, if they felt that they've had the love of their life, that they'll never find anybody like that ever again. Like my grandmother, I thought I sent it. Like my grandmother, after my grandfather died, she was just like, I'm not. Although there was this guy at church that was like sitting next to her, like saying that like it was her. He was like, oh, there's my girlfriend. And then, I was like, I'm going to church. She was like, oh yeah, apparently this guy keeps. I said, what? What? He's calling you what? Zombie Ribcage says, hey, kid, been married to wife 55 years, been together for 60. That's amazing, Their sanctity. Their sanctity of marriage. And, yeah, he was, like, sitting next to her. I put an end to that shit. I put an end to that. Ain't gonna be no funny business around the Lord. That's, I told him, I said, look, I'm not looking for a step grandpa. I'm not looking for a step grandpa. My grandmother is married to Jesus. That is who her husband, or that's who she can call her husband, okay? Don't be messing with my grandma, saying dumb shit to her, making her feel weird in church, I mean, I will call for an eviction of the pastor, all right? I will sacrifice a lamb right here. Absolutely sacrifice a squirrel, maybe. A lamb would be really difficult. To get into the church and on like a thing that you would sacrifice it. It'd just be really hard to sacrifice a lamb. But a squirrel or like a gopher or something, like maybe I don't know. I like squirrels, so I probably wouldn't. But there will be a sacrifice. Yep. There will be a sacrifice. Now I'm getting weird. Really? Now? Just now? He would be the sacrificial lamb. Yeah, absolutely. He sure would. But you know what? What am I going to do? I just say, look, leave my grandma alone. She doesn't like you. I don't like you. Just go, worship at the altar. She's like, oh, yeah, this guy's my boyfriend. Oh, yeah, he did, huh? Can't wait to go to church next week. Gam. Oh, Josh. Oh, Josh. Oh, Josh, nothing. I'm joining the Father, Son, and the Holy Ghost. That's a fact, Jack. Oh, yeah, she always heckles me. It's all right. I don't mind. Seminary guys were the fastest moving guys I've ever dated. You date a lot of seminary guys? For some reason, that doesn't shock me. I don't know why. They grab your hand first thing at the beginning of the date and pray for a great date, then ask you to marry them by the end. Really? I think that's sweet. What a very nice thing. I got a date with the seminary guy. Oh, my Lord. It took my husband to decide he would go see what I was doing at church. And 2 weeks later, he wanted to be baptized. That's beautiful. Seminary guys. That means that they're part of the church. That's what that means. And yeah, be married by tomorrow. I always wondered why that, like, you needed to, like, have an official wedding, or like you have to have government paperwork. I always wondered why the government was always so into, like, marriage. I never understood that, but I guess it's a way to sell, like, marriage licenses, I guess. I don't know. I'm not exactly sure what the whole deal of it is, but I also think that you shouldn't have to wear your seatbelt. Which, to some people would be dumb, but, like, I think that kids and people under 18 should have to, but I don't think that, like, I should. That's just I don't know. Does it, maybe you guys disagree with me. I don't know. Me not wearing a seatbelt isn't going to change your life in any way, even if you run into me. It's not going to protect you if we get into an accident. No, I'm not above the law, and I do wear my seatbelt. I have to wear my seatbelt. I'm forced to. I'm just saying that it's like, I think it's one of those, like, government, and I'm not even, like, one of those dudes. Oh my God, my wire is tangled. What the hell? Okay, I got it. I'm not even one of those guys that, I just think that, like, it's one of those why do I have to, you know? It's for the insurance companies. That makes sense. The continuous beep should be banned. It might if you, yeah. My husband is a volunteer firefighter, and there's as many passed away people with seatbelts on. Yeah, that's just my thought. I don't know. I do wear it though. See, sometimes wearing seatbelts don't save or saves lives. If my dad was wearing a seatbelt, he would have been decapitated. He was 50 in a 55 Chevy. It's amazing. I think that's more of a sanitary issue. It's like people have like nasty feet. But I mean, you know. So you're married with a bow to God, a man to love and protect. That's the all right. You can fly through the windshield, can't you? No matter what. Don't seatbelts snap too? Matter of fact, I think that's what killed Dale Earnhardt, isn't it? His seatbelt, like it had no give, and he crashed so hard that he snapped his neck or something like that. Yeah, no, I think children should just like, you know, should have to wear helmets and stuff, but yeah, it's a dangerous it's a dangerous subject, I guess. I don't live in LA, but I know what you mean. Yeah, I've thought about that too. Won't wear the proper safety. Was there a proper safety device? I didn't know. I just remember him. I just remember him running into the wall, and the seatbelt sort of straddled. I live in Cal. I don't live up. Yeah, I don't live up in LA. Thank God, or down in LA. I live away from LA because I need to. Yeah, that's right. Everybody can drive safer. I don't remember, to be honest with you, exactly what he died from. But I do remember when he died, I was actually on a skiing trip, and my grandpa was the biggest Dale Earnhardt fan that ever walked the face of the earth almost. I mean, I'm telling you, he just loved Dale Earnhardt. I don't know why. I'm not sure. He just did. That was his thing. I mean, I'm sure, you know, he was really popular, but he was just like, he buys like little die-cast cars and, you know, just, he was obsessed. I don't know why. It was just a thing he liked to do, I guess. He was just always like, did you watch the race? And I was like, no, I did not. But I do like NASCAR. But it was years later. It took me a while. Took me a while to kind of get going. Sometimes he wears a seatbelt. Not all the time, though. Sometimes. Yeah, see, that's sort of what I'm thinking. He was kind of like he he was like a big deal amongst the, I don't know, older folk guys, I guess. I've been to a NASCAR race, but it was Sonoma. It was a road course, so it sucked because you can only see part of the track. I was like, this is the stupidest thing ever. I want to go to the one where they drive in circles. I like that better. I like the circular driving. Now, I'm not saying that it's easy because it's not easy. Those things friggin' absolutely fly. But for your first like NASCAR race to go to a road course, that was devastating to me. Like, the part of the track was like that, so all you would see is voo 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 voo, and then it's quiet for like another, I don't know, 2 or 3 minutes, and you're like, you can start to hear it was just like there was not a lot to it, you know. It wasn't that fun. I wish it was a lot more fun than it was, but it's not. So it wasn't fun. I don't know why. Phew, phew. And it was just loud. Way loud for no friggin' reason. Like they could make those cars just as fast, right? Quietly. No. Maybe they can't. I don't know. Of course they did. I mean, that's crazy. That's crazy. Pew, 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 pew. I want to watch this, I want to be able to see it all. No, he did not. He was I don't think he liked wrestling. He liked sports. He liked baseball and football and basketball, but racing. He also played the harmonica, which now that I think about it is sort of odd, but he was really good at it. But he would sit in his like room at night and play the harmonica sometimes. What is he doing? What are you doing? He'd have a music book, and playing the harmonica. He looked like the dude from Blues Traveler. Like he had so many harmonicas, so many of them, man. It must have been a military thing, but he was like, I'm getting a key of D minor, whatever. What is that? He would constantly be getting new harmonicas. And I always thought that was funny. I don't know why. But he was really good at it. So I did like to listen to him play. But he was good. Very talented. Very smart guy. Probably, and not just because he was my grandpa, but I mean, he was an engineer for the military, so I figured you'd probably have to be kind of smart to do that. And then he was an engineer after that. But he was in the military for like 30 years. He was in there, so he was such a long time, and I would assume that's where he found out how to play the harmonica, because what was it? The wars. He was Korean War, Vietnam, and Desert Shield were the wars that he was involved with. See, Desert Storm was after Desert Shield, but Desert Shield wasn't like it was more of a, I mean, I don't know if it's considered a war, I believe, but I think he did a lot of sitting around sometimes. And then he lived in Guam doing God. I don't know. He never even told. I had to ask him, "What'd you live in Guam for?" He's like, "That's where I was stationed." What are you stationed over there for? That's where I was. Yeah, that's what he said. That's where I was sent. What were you doing over there? And then he would say, "I'm not telling." That's what he say. I'm not going to tell you. And then he would like laugh about it. He thought it was funny. He probably wasn't doing shit. Yes, but he was deployed, and then it was towards the end. Then he came back and in an advisory role or something. I don't know. I wasn't alive. I was still being born. I prefer drag racing. Yeah, I don't know. I'm still bummed out about this. No, she's stateside. She's a stateside lady. I don't know. I think they met in a bowling alley. How's that for a meet cute story? I met your grandmother in a bowling alley during bowling league. That's what it was. They were in a bowling league together or something like that. I did think it was funny, though, that the first date that they were supposed to go on, my grandma called him and canceled because she said that she was a grandson of hers, my cousin, was being born. And then my grandpa said, well, I didn't think I'd ever hear from her again. Little did they know, love was in the air. I can feel it coming in the air tonight. Oh, military is gone. I have to support operations in the Middle East in the 1990s. I don't know. You used to drag race, really? It's amazing. I'd love to meet my next love in Home Depot. Why Home Depot? Like, or is that just like a random, like, what about a Piggly Wiggly? Is it Home Depot because you want a builder? You want somebody that's going to build you like a truck? Or, I don't know. I don't think you can build a truck at Home Depot, but I don't know. Maybe a fence. Is that what it is? And thank you, Fastar. I appreciate that. Thank you for your $10 super sticker. It's very kind. Yeah, there wasn't, I don't think there was much action. And like Desert Shield was, I believe it was them just like guarding oil. I think, I don't know. I can't remember. Smell of lumber is romantic. I can relate. I don't even know what that means. Pam met her husband in the woods at a keg party. That's funny. A keg party? Man who can do manly things. So that's the thing. I don't think that I can do manly things, but I do try to do them sometimes. And it doesn't always work out very well. For some reason. I don't know why. For some reason, it like when I almost blew myself up with the hot water heater. I did. Like I could have legitimately died from what I was doing because I didn't know what I was doing. But I tried. I always try. Give it the old college try. And a lot of times it works out for me. And sometimes it doesn't. Like that day, it did not work out for me so well. It was actually really, really bad. And Kat, thank you. Starting the goal. Yeah. I hate that they don't count super stickers towards the goal. See, like fast stars, like it doesn't count towards the goal, but it does for me. I consider it, but we don't get the, the confetti. It's bullshit. It's a really lame thing that they do. I married an artist than the academic. Tradies are starting to look good. Yeah. Half of Gam Gam's coffee for her date. She's not going on a date, but thank you. Now she's allowed. Let me just look. She's allowed, but it's just not going to happen. There's a lot of Dr. Quinn Medicine Woman that she needs to watch. And that was the other thing today. She's got this thing, right, where if she's watching a TV show, she turns it up so loud, right, when she's watching her TV show. And when we were watching baseball, she keeps it on mute. And then she never even mutes like the TV during her commercials. So she'll try and talk to you with the TV at like 90. And you're just like, oh my God. But she will keep the baseball game muted. I don't know why. I don't know. I mean, I don't know how many times we can listen to John Walsh try and sell pills that they got out of the clams in New Zealand. I know that commercial almost by heart. Hi, I'm John Walsh. And look, John Walsh is a legend, but I don't want to hear about him riding his horses on his ranch because he takes Omega something that's like $90 a bottle. I don't need to hear it anymore, right? How many times do I have to listen to John Walsh talk to me about his arthritic ailments and how the muscles from some whatever, some muscle or pearl or whatever it is, I don't know what it is. I just can't. I mean, I love John Walsh. Like I said, absolute legend. And every time it happens, like every time that comes on, every fourth or fifth time she asks the same question every single time. And she says, did they ever catch the person that killed his son? And I said, yes, they did, Grandma. She goes, good. Which is good, but she does ask a lot. But it's every like fifth or sixth time. I think she's starting to get the hint that he was captured, But I can't listen to John Walsh's commercials. And I always say, can you just mute? It is sweet because she does care. She likes John Walsh. I like John Walsh too. I don't like his commercial anymore. And it's only because I've seen it 4,000 times. He does a great commercial. no paperwork needed. It's free. The whole package, the grandmother package is free. You can have her. But she's a very sweet. She's very sweet about it. It's nice. Let me see. I didn't know he had arthritis either. Well, apparently he doesn't have arthritis anymore because he takes that stuff, whatever that stuff is. I don't know what that stuff is. It's some pill, some like weird, like, I don't know. I don't know exactly what it is, but it's something. I've had to take care of my 82-year-old dad, and he will ask the same thing over and over. Your grandma does that sometimes, but it's between that and she always asks, like, if there's a baseball game on, why the runner can't run as soon as the ball's hit in the air. But she doesn't ask that every time. She asks that every couple of weeks, something like that. She goes, how come the runner couldn't run there? I said, because you have to hit the ball safely for the runners to advance. And she goes, oh, I don't think she gets it still, but she just says, oh. So then, 2 weeks will go by and she goes, now how come the runner couldn't run? And I said, because you have to hit the ball safely. If somebody catches the ball, then you can't run until they catch it. And she goes, oh, every single time. Yeah, you're right about that. I think about that. Think about that sometimes. You're too funny tonight. Throw this in the... Thank you. I appreciate that. Omega XL. Oh, wow. It seems very expensive. Omega XL. I kind of sound like him, don't I? Thank you with the Omega XL. Yes. Yes, they did. They played baseball and basketball. Very not good at baseball. Very, very good at basketball. Not good at baseball. Bad at baseball. Bad. Please hit that like button on the way in. I appreciate that. Bad at it, like just bad. Like it was bad. Like you shouldn't have to feel like this when your kid comes up. When your kid comes up, the base is loaded. There's 2 outs. You're down by 1 run. And you shouldn't go. Like that should not be your instant reaction. Your reaction should be, come on, buddy, you can do it. Come on. Yeah. Not now batting for the Giants, Peyton Diaz. And you go, Good job. Peyton will tell you a story. I'm telling you, that's how I felt. I know I shouldn't have felt that way, but I did. I would just go, oh no. No, I didn't want him to feel bad. It wasn't so much me, it was him. I felt bad for him. I felt bad for all of us. I know I shouldn't have. Oh yeah, he's matter of fact. What's he doing? Time. But if you were to hear Peyton tell it that I was probably the worst coach ever to him. That's what he thinks. He thinks that I was like, but I wasn't. I was just passionate, just helping my son. He would get so mad at me. Finally, I realized that I just said, you know what? It's little kid baseball. Finally, it's just little kid baseball. And yeah, well, of course. I also told him that I would I would watch all of their, like, I was like that parent that would say, look, I spy on you with your like internet searching. So just be cognizant of that. So I was brutally honest with him, I think. But I always felt that that was more of a deterrent. Like if I would say, hey, look, when you're, now that, I can see what's going on, just so you know. And it was more so like, I was just trying to protect them. And I thought that was the right thing. I didn't think spying on them without telling them was proper, personally. That's personally what I thought. But I've had some people disagree with me on that. One second. All right, never mind. Hold on here. Is it kicking you out? Okay, cool. Let me see here. Hey, muscles and mascara. What's happening?
Hey, can you hear me?
I can. Yeah, I can. How are
Is
you?
it echoing?
No, does it sound echoey to you?
Mine is, yeah.
Okay,
You're
hold
still
on.
talking?
I think I can fix that.
Okay.
Is that any better?
Yes.
Okay, good. It's fixed. How are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing fine. We
Good.
was just talking about how I would spy on my children on the internet.
I spy on mine all the time. It's necessary.
Yes, I think so. And I would tell my kid. I told him that I.
Oh yeah, mine does too. Absolutely.
I tell him. I said, look, I go through everything. I go, and I said, I trust you. I don't trust people on the internet.
Absolutely, 100%. I agree with that.
Yeah, and so yeah. Anyway, it was funny. Yesterday we were talking about your reptiles, and you and I have talked about reptiles probably, I don't know, a lot. And
Yeah.
there's always kind of a visceral reaction by some people. And weren't you one? You were like that too, though.
Absolutely was. Yeah. It's funny because I can relate to everybody's story about being afraid because I'm afraid of frogs. To this day, you can chase me around the yard with a frog still. It's crazy.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah. And don't ask me why. I think it's the unknown, like spiders and things like that. You don't really know what they're going to do. You know, crickets jumping. I can't do that. So I think it's just the unpredictability of them. I think. I don't
Yeah.
know. It's very weird.
But now you're fine with snakes.
I am. So my husband, this was his idea. So like for 4 almost 5 years, he worked on like trying his best to convince me that it was going to be okay to do this. He was watching YouTube videos. He drove me nuts with it, and I was like, oh, this will be a phase. So I finally one day I was like, okay, if I smell them, if you don't ask me to run and go get any kind of feed for them or anything like that, but if I smell anything, it's over. And so it started out, he got 4 to start out with, 4 hatchling females. And I had nothing to do with them for a very long time. But I did see my son kind of like mirroring that behavior a little bit. And I didn't want to put my fear or pass my fear of them to my son, because my husband's ultimate goal is early retirement, retire and do this kind of on the side, and maybe potentially pass it on to my son if he's interested, because it is a business. So,
And
so
a
we kind of,
profitable one.
it very much so. Yeah. A lot more than I ever dreamed it would be. So, it's pretty wild, but so that's, so he worked on me for, like I said, for a long time. And then I didn't want to pass that along. So I decided, okay, I'm going to try to do this. I did it. And it was, I held one of them and I was like, okay, that's enough. And so just over time and gradually things just started, it kind of started to happen. And so our business name is actually called Permission Pythons, because he had to get my permission to do this and I had to agree to it. So that's our business name. So
How long did it take to get the permission?
the permission part took him 4 to 5 years, literally.
Wow. And do
Yeah.
you have a snake as a pet?
I actually do. I have a couple that are my favorite, or that's my pets. And I actually have big breeder projects now that I've bought on my own, that have little projects that I want to do. And yeah, so I'm very much into it, and it's crazy. I never thought I would be that person, but here we are.
I mean, I don't think that I could. I don't know. It's like it's probably an irrational fear, but
No, I think it's just the unknown, Josh, because, for me, I was very misunderstood, because we do ball pythons. That's all that we do is the ball python. So very misunderstood, I think, to a degree.
Yep.
A snake is a snake, right? So you're supposed to be scared of them, and you're taught that, early on in your life growing up, especially in the South here in the woods and stuff, so that was kind of my, my issue is to be afraid. So I was. And so I think it's just the unknowns. I enjoy teaching people. I've actually sold snakes to 11 different individuals who have never A, held one, B, come to our booth and shivered all over, or C, their spouse wanted one and the other one was like, absolutely freaking not, we'll never do it. And now they're in love. So it's been pretty cool.
Come over to the glass. Like if you keep them in, like if you keep them in the glass, do they like come over to the glass like fish?
So yes, they're yes and no. So ours, we actually have what we call a rack system. So it's a breeding rack system. So we don't have them in glass aquariums. As a matter of fact, for anybody that ever potentially gets a snake or wants one, please don't put it in an aquarium. You hear of them getting out all the time and people losing their snakes. It's not a good idea. Number one, it's hard to keep their humidity up. And number two, they like to have their own like privacy and stuff. So, you do like a PVC terrarium, and it's easier to hold humidity and heat in them. And also just gives them the privacy so they kind of flourish better. And, they're more apt to be interactive with you.
Wow.
Yeah.
Right. Wow. I mean, I am surprised at how much, hold on a second. I'm surprised at how big this has gotten, because like I'm seeing these expos all over the place now. I mean,
Oh, yeah.
it's
Yeah.
taken over.
Absolutely. It is a big deal. And there's literally a show because there's different circuits that you could get on with the different expo vendors or whatever. And so we're a part of a few of them, but we try to stay 5 to 6 hours is about as far as we've traveled so far. It's just, it's tough on us, especially working full-time jobs. There's a lot to everything. So being gone on Saturdays and Sundays, and then, the shows don't end till 4 or 5 o'clock, and then we have to drive 5 to 6 hours. It's then when we get home, we have to put the animals away. So it's a process. It's very late nights on those shows, but around here locally, we have several, and it just gets bigger and better. And people come back to the shows, and then they say, well, we come back, we knew you guys were going to be here, so we wanted to be sure to come and see you guys. Our customers come and see us all the time, and it's pretty cool. So
Yeah. Let me respond to a comment in the
yeah.
No, I do not. When my kids were, I did not toss their rooms like it was a jail cell. No, I never did.
Oh my gosh.
I never did that. When they were younger, I would go through their backpacks, but I think that's probably normal. But like, I wouldn't flip their beds upside down or nothing like that. It was more phone, internet, computer, things like that. That's typically. But no, I would never toss their room. I just, they have to have some sort of privacy, as
Sure.
but
Absolutely.
when they're little, there's really no reason to, but like I said, going through backpacks, I think was probably fair. I don't know what it.
Oh, absolutely. I went through my son's backpack and I did all that. So I full-heartedly
Toss his room.
Yeah, no, I do not toss his room. No. No, but I do check his phone, and he knows that I check his phone. It's, something pretty regular. And, I think this day and age, you have to be involved in that stuff,
You have to. I mean, it's like, it's completely necessary.
Yeah.
But, yeah, those snakes with the smiley faces, do those sell for more?
They do. You can get a little bit more out of them, and it's luck of the draw. So my mom was like, "What kind of morph causes that?" And I was like, "Well, unfortunately, there's not a specific morph. It just happened." So those are called piebalds, like piebalds. It's the specific name for the morph, and it's just a luck of the draw. And we've seen them online before. And we're like, "That is so cool!" And we just happened to get two out of this one, and we didn't even know this female was pregnant at the time. That's what the funnier part of it is. We got the best pieds out of this bunch. And we missed her ovulation. We had no idea she was even pregnant. And we come home one day waiting on another snake to lay. And she was like 10 days late. And my husband come down and he said, well, she's not laid, but you'll never believe this. I said, you're probably right. I probably won't. And he said, the pod laid. And I said, you've got to be kidding me. So yeah, it's pretty cool.
Wow. I mean, is it a substantial amount more?
You can, yes, depending on male, female. Obviously, it just depends on the morphs, but that specific snake that I showed you guys, we can probably get, depending on the show and the location of the show, we could probably get a good 5 out of it, $500 probably.
Wow, for a little tiny snake.
Yeah. There's a morph market out there. There's a place where you can put, like, there's all kinds of reptiles, and it's called Morph Market. And you can get on there. We've seen snakes go for I was at a show that went for $50,000 snake in Atlanta this year. Oh. Literally. Yeah, it's crazy.
I remember that there's like these booms always sort of happened. Like baseball cards were a thing probably like 3 or 4 years ago, where like these cases of baseball cards were just selling for thousands of dollars. Yeah, I mean, the prices come down a little bit, but it seems like the snake egg, or it's really a reptile expo, but they mostly sell snakes, right, at these things.
You'll be surprised what you'll find at a reptile show.
Really? They have dragons and stuff?
Oh yeah, bearded dragons. They have iguanas. They'll have crested geckos. They'll have, all that stuff. Birds. There's birds there, even though, it's I've seen monkeys there. It's just crazy what, it's a reptile. Yeah, absolutely have. Yeah, absolutely. People call it a reptile expo, but it's expanded to be far beyond reptiles.
Does it look like a state fair sometimes?
No, actually, they're very good. The vendors that are the circuit that we're on, I'm pretty picky about where we go and who we're with. And, if they look like a clown show, then the rest of the thing will be a clown show. So I'm pretty picky about that, to be honest. And so I do a lot of research to make sure that where we're going is they don't have that reputation, because obviously you might not get, people that are willing to spend money or do, that kind of thing. So obviously I want to, if I'm going to spend my weekends, I want to do it smart. So
Yeah, has anybody ever tried to steal a snake?
no, we actually have them. They're in display cases that lock. So yeah, and we never leave our table or anything like that either. So it's, but yeah, each individual one is locked, so
many
it's not
vendors
possible
do
to.
they have?
I'm sorry.
How many vendors?
It depends. So usually there's, gosh, anywhere. It can be anywhere from, let's say, 20 would be a very small show up to, golly, hundreds and hundreds. The Atlanta show that we go to is massive. I mean, massive.
Wow.
Yeah, there are hundreds and hundreds of vendors there. And of course, again, it's different things, because you got to consider they actually have like supplies. So there's dry goods that people will sell, and then there's live animals that people will bring. So it's, you could literally go to a show and have nothing for a reptile and leave with everything that you need in one spot. So it's pretty cool.
Wow. That's truly unbelievable. I'm so surprised that, like, the stigma used to be, and it's not that way anymore. But the stigma used to be, if you had a snake, like you were
Mhm.
when I went
You
to
were,
school,
you were what? I'm sorry, I talked over you.
weird. Like,
Oh, absolutely.
I'm telling you, when I was in school, you'd be like, dude, that guy has a snake, and you'd be like, oh
Yeah.
no. But now it's way more common.
Absolutely. Actually, 1 in 5 people in America, or homes in America, have a form of a reptile as a pet in their house. Now, I did not realize that either, but yeah. So, yeah,
That's a ton.
yeah, it's a lot. It is a lot. You go from, and a snake, for itself, like for us, like the ball pythons, there's different snakes that require different, handling and different maintenance of the snake and different care. But like a ball python is known for being just really chilled, really laid back. It's not a racer, so like when you hold it, it's not going to just race away from you like a gecko might. You have to kind of keep up with it or whatever. A ball python's known to be pretty chill. And then like when they get when they're maybe startled, or maybe whatever, they literally will get in a ball. So they'll tuck their heads and they'll literally be in a ball. You can pick it up with one hand if it's small enough. So that's just what they're known for.
They get scared.
They get so I say not scared, they can get startled, because when you're picking up a snake of any kind, honestly, but specifically for a ball python, you will never want to go like towards their face immediately, because then that's what they sense. They don't have a good peripheral vision either. And a ball python has a very small strike zone, so it's like maybe a 8 to 12-inch strike zone. So if you don't smell like a rat, if you don't go towards its face and you kind of know what you're doing, you kind of just let them chill. When you first open up, we have the racks or whatever, and you open the tub up, we just let them chill for a second. They'll start coming out by themselves. Like they'll come up and start slithering up or whatever. And but you always want to get them from behind their head. So you just literally put your hand behind them and pick them up. And once you got them in your hands, and you don't smell like a rat, and you're not making real fast movements towards their face and stuff, to get bit by one is very uncommon. My husband we've had them since 2019, and it's been breeding since 22, sorry. He's been bit 3 times, and it's all been by hatchlings, because they're more defensive. Obviously, they're not used to being held and those kind of things, so they're just a little bit more defensive. But
And they have teeth at that age?
they actually have teeth. So they have the back teeth that, yes, they do, but there's back teeth. They point backwards. Typically what you get bit by, that's when you get bit, is when you're feeding. People get bit because they're just hairless a little bit. But and a hatchling, believe this or not, will have, depending on the age of it and the stage of it, whenever they first hatch, they have what they call an egg cutting tooth, and it's literally one tooth. And it is designed for it to literally cut the egg open for it to come out and hatch. This is pretty cool.
Wow. That, like, if that's not a commercial for creation, I don't know what is.
Yeah, it's pretty wild. It's pretty wild.
I mean, that would take, you know how long it would take for like evolution for that to, like, they would all die. They wouldn't have the egg cutting tooth at any point. Oh God, we're waiting for the egg, and it's like 30 million years later, nothing.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's pretty crazy.
Wow. That is pretty amazing. I mean, I just had no idea it was as big a business as it is. And then I told you, remember, I said, I'm starting to see all these signs popping up all over the place, even in my
That's
town.
my fault though. That's my fault because I seen you pictures and now you recognize it.
Yeah. Yeah. They're everywhere. And that, but they're so popular. And then even last night, after we talked about it a little bit, I got some emails from people sending me pictures of them with their snakes. And
Oh,
so I mean, look, when I used to watch the show Cops, and they would have to come out and like handle those enormous pythons in Florida.
yes.
Like,
Mhm.
how big do these things get?
So that's what's beautiful about a ball python. A ball python is only going to be a female will get 4 to 5 feet long, typical length of the ball python, and the male's only 3 to 4. So they're not going to get this as big as a human being. You know what I mean?
But that's still massive.
It's big. It is big, and of course our breeder females are, they get chunky, very chunky, obviously, but that's the other thing. A lot of people will overfeed their snakes and stuff like that, which a ball python typically, it's not hard, it's not easy to overfeed them, but you can, and so then they get lazy and they won't breed. So there's a method to the madness of how often you feed them and all those kind of things. But like for us, we won't take a snake to a show unless it's had at least 4 to 5 meals, like a hatchling or whatever, and make sure that it's, obviously everything's working properly, because the last thing we want to do is sell somebody a snake and it die. So that's typically what we will do when it comes to taking babies and stuff to the show. So
I'm sure that inevitably happens too, though.
Sure. Luckily, we've not had that happen, but it's a matter of time. When somebody gets one, we do have a little system where within a certain time frame, we would, obviously honor the customer and do what we could do to help them out. But obviously, there's only so long we can guarantee that too. And then, of course, when we ship snakes, we do have a guarantee program for that too. So
I had a buddy that moved into a guy's house, and he had very little furniture, but he had 2 different snakes, both in their aquariums. And he said he went out and he bought like a brand new TV because there was nobody in the house. He was the only one there. And the only outlet that he could use was like one of the aquarium outlets.
mhm.
So he's like, oh, I'll just unplug it for a little bit and then I'll plug it back in. And then he fell asleep watching the TV and the snake died.
Oh no.
And his
Oh,
friend
no.
came home for vacation. And he was like, my snake's dead.
Oh my God. That's bad. Well, and that's why we like them, because we have, 168, I think is what we currently have when it comes to all the hatchlings and our breeders. And what's beautiful about it is if we want to go on a weeks-long vacation to the beach, we make sure that we feed them before we leave, make sure they've got a little water bowl and it's full, and then we leave for a week, come back, and they're fine. So we don't have to board them. We don't have to have people come over here and, do things with them or whatever. We've got like all of our systems set up on our phone, and we can make sure the temperatures are good and change that if we need to, so we can monitor it from afar. So
you have 168 snakes.
168 snakes, yes. Yes, and I think that's accurate. We've had so many born, I think I've got it correct, but I don't know.
That is so many.
Yes, it is a lot. It's a lot, but that actually it's a very small operation compared to what some of these people do. Like, it's crazy. We've met millionaires that all they have done, literally, we've met them, and my husband actually is in a Patreon group with a few of them, but all they've ever done is breed snakes, and they literally are millionaires. It's insane.
Right. Well, like I said, I had no idea that was I knew that it was a business, but I didn't know that it was like that. And I'm obviously I'm not up in the reptilian world, but I know that like a lot of there's like expos of all kinds of stuff like that, like I said, baseball cards and
Oh yeah.
Comic-Con and all that kind of stuff. But I didn't think snakes were that popular. I really didn't. I just thought most people felt like I did.
Yeah. Well, like I said, I've literally had people come up at one of the last shows I sold to people who literally shivered, women that shivered when they were walking around coming to the beach. They do it for their kids and their husband or whatever, or vice versa. And literally have had 11 different people that literally would said, I will not walk out here with no snake. And they literally do. It's been pretty wild.
Wow. And then do you keep in contact with some of these people?
All the time. That's my biggest thing for me is customer service. I know how I want to be treated when I buy something. But yeah, we actually have a care guide that people, all the time are asking about, my son's really getting into this or my daughter or whatever it may be. And I want to understand what it what the care's like and all that stuff. And so we actually I developed a care card where I can hand it to people, and it's got our information on it. We've had people, and I'll tell them, you can call us if you've got a question, whether you buy from us or not. You're welcome to give us a call if you have a care question or whatever. And I've had people do that. And then subsequently we'll come back and they'll either purchase from us or whatever. But some have, some haven't, but for me, it's just making sure that they know what to do when they leave and that they can care for it the right way. And because obviously if they don't, it becomes frustrating, when it comes to feeding and different things like that, because a ball python can be kind of picky. They're known to be picky eaters sometimes. So it's important that you understand how to do that, and then to make sure that they have the right environment that they are living in, that they can digest and stuff well, because if not, they won't eat, and it becomes a really stressful situation for the owner and stuff.
Yeah, I could imagine. Where would you take a snake if it gets sick? Like, you can't just take it.
Yeah, it's interesting concept for that too. So you can take them. There's a lot of vets that do obviously do like maybe small reptiles and that kind of thing. So there are so many organizations out there that will have it listed. Like we get on these show circuits and stuff too. You'll kind of know where to go. But we actually do have one here locally. We didn't think we did, and I started doing some more research, and they do have one. So very close, thank goodness. Yeah.
No, I mean, with any pet, you're gonna want to know where the closest care is. I mean, snakes. I would imagine snakes get sick too. And what do they eat? Mice?
So yeah, that's they do. That's what ball pythons eat. Now you do have snakes that can eat different things, but yes, ball pythons eat anything from a mouse to a rat, depending on the size that they are. And it's like a ratio.
Disconnect right there. That's where the rubber meets the road with some people, because a furry little dog is going to eat dog food.
Mm-hmm.
And now it will chase them, but it doesn't survive off mice. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Now that's where a lot of this comes from. Also, I saw something yesterday. I saw a German Shepherd get bit by a rattlesnake.
Oh yeah.
And I mean, thank God the poor dog lived, but it was, I'd never seen, so a lot of people associate all snakes like sort of like that, but the mice thing. And I remember, being at people's house they're like, let's feed my snake. And I'm like, hell no, dude, I don't want to watch that.
Yeah.
I guess that to me, like I wouldn't, do they have to be live?
No, they don't we don't feed live. We feed what we call frozen thawed. So they are euthanized, and when we buy them, they're frozen. And so you leave them frozen until you're ready to feed. And then there's we put them in their own separate bag. We'll put them down in water and kind of slow thaw them out. And then right before we feed them, we put them under a heat lamp to get them, heated quicker. And people, if you don't have a heat lamp, you literally can use a hair dryer. Obviously, we have 168 snakes, so we don't have time to do that with individually. So we have a heat lamp, and we actually check them with a temperature gun and make sure they're a good temperature before we feed them to make them appear to be live. But I'm not into the feeding live. I hate a mouse, a rat, or whatever. I hate them. I'm terrified of those things. So I absolutely will not do it live. So, and it's kind of dangerous too, right? Because it can actually, a snake or a mouse or a rat can bite your snake, and that does happen occasionally. And you have to be right there, and then you have to take them right back out if they don't eat, so they don't get bit. And so that's just for us too much.
Yeah, and they can't be around other, like the dogs and snakes aren't going to get along, right? I have a Jack Russell of all things, right? So you think, yeah, but she doesn't care. She doesn't bother them. Like, we don't put them. I mean, we've had snakes that my husband, occasionally he'll get one and bring it upstairs and kind of, just play, just interact with it or whatever. And my dog will look at it like, oh my God, here we go again. And she just kind of turns her head. Wow. Yeah.
But yes, I mean, I'm sure it could be a problem depending on this pet that you have. But
Macho would go insane.
That's hilarious.
He, like, around other dogs, he wants to, I don't know what he wants to do. He just likes to, he thinks he's the boss of everything and everybody. And then Otis humps him, tries to hump him, and then he gets brought back down to earth really fast. But you know, I just couldn't imagine them being like, he freaks out if he sees like a beetle on the ground or something. He starts spinning in circles.
My dog is the same way. She's afraid of leaves will fall outside, and she about freaks out. It scares her to death. So it's funny, but yeah, she pays them no mind, honestly.
He doesn't like feathers either, which I always found kind of weird. Like feathers bother him. He's like, he's so weird. But I mean, I don't know, man. I think it is really an interesting. It's an interesting business, but and the fact that it's profitable is even better. And does your husband, does he like snakes?
Yeah, he does. He's always has. He, you know, oddly enough, he never had any. Never was, you know, he never did. So, he just fell in. I don't know why. He just liked them. He just liked the way they appeared or whatever. And you know, it's crazy, but yeah, he's always enjoyed them. And you know, he's talked about having one, just getting a pet or whatever. And then he got into this, looking and seeing different things. So, here we are breeding snakes. It's crazy, but yeah, it's actually not as difficult as you think. And honestly, a snake is one of the easy, like I said earlier, an easiest pet that you can have. You know, it's just the setting it up and the initial getting set up and make sure everything's accurate, you know, for their well-being. And that once you do that, it's pretty easy.
Yeah, I mean, so they're domesticated, basically. They're bred as domesticated animals.
Yeah, we obviously, like I said, it'll be 4 to 5 meals before, and we feed weekly, so it's not like it's an everyday. So they only eat once a week, and then as they get older, you can even move that to every other week if you want, or every 10 days. It just depends on, you know, your feed, ever how much inventory you have for that or whatever. But so we feed ours once a week when they're first born, and it's usually every 5 days, obviously to get some meals down them, and you know, because they're little, their metabolism's moving even faster. So I forgot what I was going with that. I don't even know. What did you ask me?
We were talking about feeding them, and now they can every 10 days they can eat.
Oh yeah, I don't know where I was going with that. But anyway, once we feed them, like I said, every 4 to 5 days, if they eat 4 to 5 meals, then we'll take them to the show. So it could be that the snake is, you know, a couple of months old before we actually take it to a show. Depends on how well they eat, you know. And then as far as you said something about being domesticated, we also handle them, because it's even more important for us to give someone a snake, or let them handle a snake that they potentially are going to buy, and it's not going to be something that's never been held. You know what I mean? So they're very much accustomed to being held, and you know, just interacted with humans a lot. So
I have held a snake at like a pet store before.
yeah,
And it was terrifying. I don't know why. I don't know why they bother me the way they do. I mean, like a little small one or something. Like we have where I live, we don't have like a lot of warm-blooded snakes, because the climate's not conducive for them.
yeah.
We have what's called Gartner snakes, and they're pretty little, you know, and they're just
Mhm.
I don't know if you've ever seen one, but they're just
Yes.
they're just tiny little things. And
Yep.
those scare the shit out of me too.
Oh, that's funny.
You know, I'm just like geckos, lizards, all that. I don't know, like spiders don't really bother me. I mean, I don't
See, nope.
I don't like spiders. You know, people have tarantulas. Like they're
They
probably
do.
tarantula shows.
They are at these shows. They're jumping spiders, everything. Look, literally yes, there's tarantulas there, and yeah, all kinds. But it makes no sense. Somebody will walk up and say, "Yeah, I've got this big tarantula at home, and I can't get him out because I don't trust him." And you know what I mean? Like, it's so weird. So it's strange, but yeah. And I saw the message that I was seeing a comment that Zoe said about not all snakes are easy, you know, to pets or whatever. And that's very accurate, right? That's why I said this is all related just to ball python specifically, because obviously you get a big boa constrictor or something huge like that, and you know, those things require somebody, you know, for 2 people to feed. Sometimes they get so big, and their temperament's very much different than a ball python. So
Jumping spiders.
jumping spiders, yeah. Mhm.
I mean, that just sounds terrifying.
Right. Yeah, and they sell them in little fairy houses for them to put the actual snakes in. It's the most ridiculous thing ever.
Yeah. And so you're correct. No one has warm-blooded snakes. I meant that the climate is not conducive for warm enough for the snakes because all reptiles are cold-blooded.
Yeah. Yeah.
That I do know. I did go to school in third grade. And they would always say, oh, cold-blooded, warm-blooded mammals, reptiles. And I was just always a mammal guy. I mean, that's just me, but times are changing, I guess. It's becoming more and more popular. I wonder what is it just because that they're easier to take care of and it's I mean,
I don't know. I think it's the difference in, just trying something different. And I think it's just the amazement of the actual animal themselves. You know what I mean? And once you, understand it and know, I don't know. It's just, I guess it's just like having fish. You don't get to play with fish. You know what I mean? I don't get to pet them. So I guess I don't know. It's just something different. And like I said, it is easy to deal. They're easier to deal with, as far as, especially the ball pythons, they're just, I don't know. It's cool. It's a cool thing. And we enjoy the genetics and all that stuff of it and how we can create different patterns and morphs and colors. And, it's like Christmas morning whenever whenever they lay and they hatch, they were in the incubator for 60 days and at day 60 or 55 or whatever it is, and they start coming out. It's like Christmas morning waiting to see what's inside of it because you just have no idea what genetics are going to pass over to each egg or whatever. So it's pretty cool.
Wow. I mean, it is really interesting. I'm just shocked at the popularity of them, but good for you guys. It does sound like a lot of work though.
It can. I mean, it can be. But again, we have full-time jobs. We do have 168, and then it's we actually feed them on different days. So we have adults that we feed, and we have show snakes that we feed on Sundays because if we have a show that week, we want to give them time to digest and all that stuff before we have to pack them up and take them to a show. So we actually have different feeding days, and it's that helps a little bit too. Obviously, not to have to feed them all at one time, but it actually goes pretty quick. The show snakes because they're a little bit younger, obviously, that you can feed. We probably feed. I don't even know how many babies there is down there and how many show snakes. There's a lot, but we can feed them in no time though. You'd think it would take hours, and it doesn't. So
it's pretty quick.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. Absolutely.
Wow. That's very. How long do they live?
Oh man, they can live 30 plus years.
Yeah, no, thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just there was a tortoise or a turtle or whatever, one of those, those big ass ones.
Oh yeah.
It was like, oh, this thing turned 40 years old today. I knew a lady who her brother was willed a turtle because it was like 110 years old.
Yeah. I was going to say, we actually saw one at the a couple shows ago, and it was 115. I mean, how crazy is that? Yeah, it's wild.
No, alligators and stuff like that, they live so long.
Yeah, absolutely.
And they're in pretty decent shape too.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I don't want to take on one of them, that's for sure.
No, they're those snapping turtles. They're just massive, but they live so long. They're prehistoric, really. That's what it is. But
yeah, it's pretty wild.
But yeah, I have a softer spot for turtles because of the Ninja Turtles.
Right, me too. I can deal with the turtle. I can handle that. I would get them out of the road when I see them, so I can handle turtles.
Turtles not a huge turtles. They're slow and
they're slow. Exactly.
Yeah. I like things I like slow. Otis is not a slow moving, but Macho can be.
Oh yeah.
I need slow moving creatures. I want to be able to move faster than my animals, and Macho and Otis and any dog in the world is faster than me, but. Turtles just sort of have a cuteness to them, but they're ugly too. I don't know. I think
they are ugly. I agree. They can be very ugly.
So ugly, but I mean, I don't know. I just it really does fascinate me that this stuff goes on like this. I mean,
yeah. Well, it's been a great adventure for us. So it's funny. My husband says he couldn't sell anything, and I can sell a turd covered in chocolate to somebody, or didn't even have to put it over chocolate. I could sell it. But I I'm that person that, I talk to people and I take time to speak to them and make sure they understand everything, if they're kind of on the fence. And of course, you got people that'll walk up and they know what they're looking for immediately to see if you have it at your table. They're either in the breeding business or they just have several snakes, they don't need as much guidance. But so he always tells me that. And my favorite part of it, though, is the education and getting to talk to people and getting to educate, especially kids. I've had, very small children that, will come and very brave and want to hold one. And then I have some that are terrified or, just asking questions or whatever. And I've actually been to a couple of schools and things like that for, that they're wanting to do science classes and stuff like that, where they're just to educate people. And I enjoy that part of it more than anything, because it is fascinating. It's something I had to learn too. And I think it's because I can relate to people is why maybe they, or will trust me more than maybe my husband's not the person that's the talker. He's kind of the introvert, and I'm certainly not. So it kind of works out though. He's good at the breeding part, and I just, I sell them. So
Well, I mean, that's like a perfect combination right there.
yeah, absolutely, it is. Yes,
That's perfect.
yeah, it definitely is.
I will never be owning a snake, but I know that when I was looking in the chat, people were like, they're pretty fascinated by this stuff too.
Yeah, it's pretty wild to see what you can do. So with like I said, the different patterns and colors and different morphs and stuff, and then it's just the unknown of what is this one going to look like,
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Those smiley face ones are just that is so cool how that happens.
Yes.
I mean, the color and everything. See that's the thing, that the circle with the perfectly placed eyes, and it is kind of amazing. It really is.
Yeah. It was very much a surprise, and that one's even cooler because it doesn't have all the different what they call saddles, or even known as like alien heads. That it doesn't have a lot of that pattern, and so it's basically all white, but it has that at the very middle of it, so it's even better because you can really see it. So
Kat wants to know, she said, I have one question. Are they in a locked place, not attached to your home?
So just recently, we do have a bonus room. It used to be my workout room. And I moved downstairs into the basement. And so I told my husband not long ago, I said, it's about time for you to move out of the bonus room, because he was getting so big, and the bonus room has the slanted ceilings. And so he couldn't stack the racks up very high. He was having to spread out. And so we did just recently build a new room downstairs where we took half of our basement and made finished it off with just the snake room. So it's down in the basement. The rack system that we have, literally, they're not going to get out. Like they can't.
And even if they do, they're not poisonous. They're not going to choke
No,
you.
They're not venomous at all. No, they're not.
Do they wrap though? Do they squeeze?
Sure, they're constrictors, but they're not what you think, like a boa type. They're not that way, but yes, they are constrictors. When they will constrict around their prey to eat it and stuff. So
wow. And what about
and they will basically hold on to you. You're holding on to them or whatever. I've been at the show many times where I'm ringing people up or helping somebody, and I've got one right, because we've got one that we take. Actually, we have a couple that we take that are very just super chill, and we don't have to worry about them or whatever. And so we don't have people. I'm very picky. I don't like people holding our animals a lot whenever we are at a show, because there's diseases that can be transferred from snake to snake, and so you don't know where that person's been at another table that might have mites or anything like that. So very picky about letting them hold a lot of snakes and stuff, and it just gets a little bit crazy whenever you do that. So, but they'll just wrap around your hands and wrap around your arm, and I'm got that one on one arm or around your neck or whatever it may be. But but yes, they are constrictors. But as far as them going to constrict you to kill you, no, because they're of the size, so they know their limitations when it comes to your prey, basically.
Yeah, but a 5 foot one probably could give you a good squeeze.
Yeah, but again, it knows its limitations, though. It's not going to be able to size you up to eat it, and it knows that. You know what I mean? So it's not like it's
It just needs you to squeeze you.
Yeah, just hanging on. That's it. That's all it is. Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay, I get it. Wow.
And of course, they love warmth, right? So you get them out of these little displays that we have them out at the shows or whatever, and you get them out. We have heat, what they call heat cords to help out, where they can get some heat and stuff. But you get them out and you hold them, and the warmer they get, the more they're like, okay, I really like this, and they're just gonna, that's when they start moving around when they're good and warm and stuff. So
That makes sense.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
very interesting. Wow, the whole thing is what an operation you guys have going on.
Yeah, it's pretty wild. It's pretty crazy, but I do enjoy it, enjoy people, and it's been interesting. So um I don't know. It's been interesting, and I it's been fun for me and my husband. So it gives us, we have something to do together, and enjoy it, and get to go, and I get to watch him make his hobby and his fun stuff that he dreamed of doing, be reality, and then seeing me get involved with it, I think has been pretty
Mm.
fun for him too. So
Right. Yeah, no, I mean, I think it's interesting, and I'm always asking you about it because I just this is great. It's just a different world to me. But
it is. Yeah,
but
it is.
it's funny that you actually used to hate snakes.
Oh yeah, it's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. And people will ask us that all the time. And I have a little thing printed out at these shows, why permission pythons. And so, but of course not, you can have a sign that says, here's your sign, and people will miss it. But
right.
they'll ask us that question, and it's a great conversation starter too with people, and they're like, oh my gosh, really? You were afraid of them. And so, it's a good conversation piece. And it does tell people that, okay, well, my son or daughter who really wants to have one of these and you're terrified, it kind of gives them an idea of, you don't have to be, you know what I mean? You can just understand them a little bit better, and, maybe it'll be possible for them to have something that they never thought they would because you were terrified, so.
Right. Wow.
Yeah.
The whole thing's very interesting. Well, I appreciate you coming up and talking about it.
Yeah, no, thank you for the opportunity. I do have to leave you with this one message because this is going to blow all of your minds. Well, if you don't know it, there's probably people that do know it, but it'll probably blow your mind, Josh.
Probably.
You know how people do, you're weird, or maybe you are of the devil if you have a snake, right? Everybody, they used to correlate the two, or whatever.
Yeah.
And they're evil, right? So the snakes are evil. So what I find very interesting is a male snake has 2 reproductive organs. They're called hemipenes. And did you catch that I said he had 2?
Yeah.
2. Could you imagine? I don't know about the women in the chat, but I can imagine my son or my husband having 2, or my son, I think for this matter, he's 17 years old, but my husband having 2 because I can't deal with the one.
2 wieners.
2, yes sir, 2 of them. Yeah, and you have to very much keep in track of, like, when they're breeding, you can only leave them for a few days, or when you're trying to get them to breed, because they will literally do it until they die. It's ridiculous.
Wow. Sounds like a normal guy.
It's the male species of any kind. So.
You got 2 wieners.
Yeah.
I did not know that.
Yep, and they're called hemipenes. So anybody that ever asks, you just need to go around asking people, do you know what a hemipene is? And there you go.
That counts.
Yeah, exactly.
There he is.
No, thanks a lot. I appreciate you letting me come up and chat for a minute.
It was awesome. Come back soon.
Sure, absolutely. Thank you guys. Have a good night.
Hey, take care, Melissa.
All right, bye.
I never knew that. I kind of like, now that they have 2 wieners, I don't know. Hemipene. I like how the hemipene bell. Yeah. Wow. Hemipene. 2 hemipenes. Where are you at, Holly? This one's for you. And thank you, Muscles, for taking time to share that with us, because I'm very fascinated by that business that people. It's very interesting. Very hemipene. Did you? Yeah, it is a conversation starter. Hey, did you know that snakes have 2 hemipenes? Ding ding. For the hemipene. Holly hasn't been here tonight. Sometimes she does a lot of stuff with her family, and sometimes she sleeps, at night too, I guess. Some people sleep at night and some don't. Not us. We own the night. That's what we do. Well, sometimes I sleep at night, but just I'm telling you, yesterday, watching that watching T-Rev cut those bushes that was one of the funniest things I've never seen something quite as dumb. And I'm telling you that the mockumentary was so funny. I've never seen anything like it when he was cutting those bushes, dude. Oh my god, I laughed so hard. I just want to see it again, to be honest with you. Somebody told me they watched it 3 times. That's a lot. Dude. Yeah, shit. I don't know who was here last night and who wasn't, but this is. Look at this. Dude, look at this thing. Where was he cutting the bushes at? Like they brought clippers along. It's like cutting somebody's weed plants.
You know, I don't think so for sure. But here, can you hold this flashlight for me? Whoever? I don't know if you can hold it, but
This is the best thing.
here, come and point this over here. Let me cut some shit down real quick. Yeah, it's not an ATV.
This is the best.
Side by side.
Hold up, where was I at here?
Right here.
I'm trying to cut us a way in. Here, if you could hold that for me there. Okay.
Hey, I accidentally turned it on. How do I turn it off?
Oh,
Huh?
I turned it on. How do I turn it off?
why does he have this?
You're good, brother. Don't
Like I woke up this morning and I was like, how funny was that?
Dropping stuff.
I got you. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. It's okay, Bubba.
It's okay,
I
bub.
appreciate you. All right, hold up.
Oh man. It just never like this is the best. What is he doing? I still can't figure it out. I mean, I guess it's for show. No, it's not his son, it's his friend Smoke's son. But like they're just what the hell?
Someone said they'd be too scared about the spiders.
Yeah, I'm scared.
Fucking worried about no spiders right now.
I'm worried about what the frick's in there, like an animal wise.
Oh, thank you. No, it was awesome. It was a great conversation. I was it's
How we gotta get in there? It's all boarded up.
why is he cutting these?
Become prepared.
Yeah, we're definitely prepared for sure.
Become prepared.
Yeah,
Landscaping.
we're definitely prepared for sure. You can read the comments. See what they're saying in there.
Saying, watch for snakes. Snakes.
Yeah, when he pushed it, that was the best part.
All right,
Chainsaw. LOL.
chainsaw.
I see corn.
Chainsaw.
You're not scared to see a ghost?
No, not one bit.
I'll shake its hand.
Well, so this is from last year, and we watched this last night, but I just think it was so funny that he was cutting bushes. Yeah, he brought those clippers with him. It's unbelievable. Unfriggin' believable.
I'll call Uncle Sam. Shake its hand.
There was a couple really funny parts. One was when
Don't bathe with Uncle.
Let me know when you're good.
give me 1 second.
Can you see me good? Yep. Okay, what's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome, Miss Smoke, T-Rev 757 Paranormal. Again, we were out here at the haunted shack from the 1800s. Now, this shack is abandoned, okay? It's an abandoned shack, and it's definitely got some stories to it. And we'll dive into those stories as we drop, you'll be able to hear it. I don't even like that. I'm gonna cut that. But anyways, we are at the Haunted Shack out here, Tennessee. I got my buddy Smoke. He's behind the camera right now. Thank you, for this production and for being a part of this journey. I appreciate you. But again, we are going to check this out. I've heard some stories about back here. Let's walk this trail a little bit, see what we're up against as far as terrain and where we're at. Cause this is deep. This is in the cut, y'all. This is in the cut, but I love this shit. We're on Ghost Adventures. Make sure you hit the damn like button. That's all I ask for. It's free 99. Join us on these adventures. We're just taking a walk down here. Come on, let's show them out a little bit. Let's show them down here. Check this trail out.
So
I want to see that.
Yep, I got this flashlight on, so we're good.
That's
What's going on? Yeah, watch your steps. Retha said, "How you?"
Oh, here it is. Here it is.
That looked I feel like a free soul back and back and back. What was
Cried like a baby.
killed in this shack now? In this land, is Mama for coffee. Nice to see you, KC. Smarty Hardy. Just before I dive in, I don't want to, you guys to think I'm ignoring you or anything. I just want you to be able to see what we're.
Hold on.
We're doing, and I'm just out here walking this path real quick. We're checking it out. This is what we see. This is what we see. Straight up pitch black.
Muscles, you really should, for your business. I mean, this is just my opinion. Do whatever you want, but I think you should start a YouTube channel. I really do. I bet. I mean, I think it would be advantageous of you too. I think it would. I'll help you too. Absolutely, I will. Watch him step on these little pricklies.
Abandoned barn is back this way. We just walked back a little bit. In this land.
No, this is from a while ago.
It kind of ties back in with the last place that we were in but it's farther away from there. And allegedly, people have been killed in this shack down here. Now let's go back down here. I just wanted to check this path out and see what was down here, what we were facing, just in case. And it looks like it just keeps going back and back and back. And we could walk all the way down there. I mean, chat, should we walk down this path? How far should we go down this path?
Let me know if you
Let
need
me know.
help. And I would. Yeah, but it's a whole different community. That's the thing. It's a whole different genre. You wouldn't get bogged down by bullshit.
Should we go down this path?
Please
I'm
do.
waiting. Children of the
More than willing.
corn. I'm telling you right now, I have zero fear out here whatsoever. I feel like a free soul right now.
Okay, listen. He steps on some shit.
Children of the corn. Should we walk this, chat? Let me know. Chat is in control right now. Should we walk down here and check out what this path leads to?
Yeah.
I've only heard about this. What the fuck is that, dude? Oh, dude, that looked fucking weird, bro.
We'll promote it.
That shit looked wacky. But look, you got of course, do it. They said do it. Of course, do it. Damn, something's cutting the hell out of my foot right now. I got pricklies on my shit. It's all right though. I like that. I'm just playing. Let me get this shit off me. Goodness gracious, get this crap off of me. I'm a city boy. I've been playing in the sticks. All right, here we go. Got to get that shit off me. Hold up, chat. I got to get this off me. That shit is poking the hell out of me right now. You son of a snitch.
My favorite.
You son of a snitch. I'm just playing. Just kidding. It's okay. I probably should have wore some damn boots, right? Instead of some Jordans. I got some fucking J's on out here like I'm freaking Michael Jordan about to play some ball. But again, let's see. Now, again, it's from the 1800s. This land goes back from the 1800s. It has a story.
Oh, man. I know. It's just too funny.
I got to finish digging and diving into it, but
I don't know. I think I
it
like
ties into some weird shit, and I can't wait for you guys to see that.
it. Really did give me a headache last night. Watching this, but it was so funny, man.
Adventures, love it. Definitely not a country boy. Nah, I'm a little bit of both, you know, more city than anything, but definitely lived in the sticks. I'm only joking about those pricks too. Ah, it hurts so bad.
Yeah, the moaning was weird. I
Psych.
didn't understand the moaning. Anyway, I won't put you through it all over again. Half of it was him going.
I don't.
That was sort of interesting. Why is it square like this? I don't like this. I actually hate this. Oh, we're not. Yeah, I'm not doing. Hold on 1 second. Hmm. I don't know where that went. Somebody sent me a video earlier that I was going to play, and it was kind of funny. Where did that? Maybe they took it down. Anyway, I don't know. I don't know where it is. What's happening? Brenda's good. Good to see you. Thank you. Josh, when are you and Dr. Gary? We're talking about doing another show soon. I think we discussed it today, but we didn't nail anything down. Usually we're kind of spur of the moment, but I'm trying to be able to advertise them a little more. But I really want to cover that that singer's case with the girl that was found in his Tesla. I've been wanting to get into that case a little bit because I don't know, it's a really sad, odd one. And ultimately I think that he's probably going to, him. He's going to have something. He has to have something to do with it, I would think. I mean, I could not imagine a scenario. I know he's innocent until proven guilty. He's not charged with anything. He hasn't been named a suspect. But look, if a child, your girlfriend who was a child, which is a whole nother, that's a whole nother situation that needs to be addressed. But if somebody's found in your vehicle dismembered, you're going to be a suspect. I just can't imagine how you wouldn't be, you know. It makes no sense. Makes no sense whatsoever. But I think I want to start covering that on the lab. Let me see where. I'm gonna play this for a second, if you don't mind. Yeah, but I mean, I don't think he's some like. I mean, I don't know.
David has hired a prominent defense attorney as rumors and speculation around the death of a 14-year-old girl, Celeste Rivas Hernandez, continue to grow. The teen was found dead in a car registered to the viral artist, who was in the middle of a tour when her remains were found. Now, as Celeste's family prepares to say goodbye, we're digging into the latest details as well as theories about what might have happened to her, and we're going to break it all down with criminal defense attorney and former prosecutor Matt Mangino. Welcome to Side.
I mean, sometimes when people do, horrific things out of because they call it a crime of passion or whatever it is that they want to call it, I don't know. But when people do crazy ass things, they make crazy ass decisions, and sort of once it's done, like you've put somebody into a car dismembered, it's extremely risky to go back and try to undo what's been done. Going back to the scene of a crime is terrible. It's not a smart idea. I mean, I like when they do it because I like my criminals dumb and I like them to get caught.
Bar, presented by Law and Crime. I'm Jesse Weber. One of the songs that rocketed David Anthony Burke, known by his moniker David, to stardom was Romantic Homicide. It is back on the Billboard Hot 100 chart, okay? The hit, which originally went viral.
And now this shithead's making money.
On TikTok.
More money.
Back in 2022. It has re-entered the charts at number 38, according to Billboard. So why the sudden interest? Well,
because he's probably being investigated for... And this girl was underage, by the way. Let's not forget.
For anybody who's been following us here on Sidebar, you know there is a lot going on right now. It seems that fans, new and old, are connecting that chilling song title with an investigation into the death of a teenager who was apparently associated or connected with David before she went missing in
I had never heard of him either. Never.
2024. Now, we're talking about the fact that her body was found in a car registered in his name. We are covering every angle of the investigation by LAPD into Celeste Rivas Hernandez's death. The cause of death, which is so far listed as deferred on her death certificate. We don't know the manner of death either. Police say her decomposed body was found in the trunk of a Tesla at Hollywood Tow Yard in Los Angeles back in September. This was one day after she would have turned 15. LAPD sources told People magazine that Celeste's remains had likely been inside that car for weeks as it sat, apparently abandoned on a neighborhood street before it was towed. Tow yard workers had called the police when at least one person had realized there was this horrible smell coming from the car. That is when first responders found Celeste's body. It was apparently wrapped in a plastic bag. But here's the thing, despite that.
She's just like a little kid, I mean, she's just a teenager, a young teenage girl.
That Tesla being registered to David.
How old was this guy? 20?
Despite
sick bastard.
Him apparently renting a property near where that car was parked, and even despite his alleged connection to the victim, he has not been named as a suspect. He has not been named as a person of interest. He has not been implicated officially in any wrongdoing or any crime. In fact, no one has been named as a suspect so far. In fact, an LAPD commanding officer said it is possible that Celeste wasn't even murdered. That perhaps...
Was that his song?
Perhaps her death, when we think about it, was it attributed to something else, an accident, overdose? In other words, there is a possibility that the only crime could be someone tried to hide her body.
And dismembered her? That's a crime.
So as we await more testing, like toxicology reports, we know that the medical examiner performed an autopsy on Celeste's remains, determined that she was not pregnant, nor had she been pregnant in the last year. That's important because there's been speculation that there could have been some sort of sexual relationship between David and this young girl. He's 20 years old right now. And as more and more rumors spread about David's alleged potential involvement, he has canceled his music tour, which was supposed to include more stops in the U.S., also abroad. He appears to have gone off the grid. We don't know where he is. His social media pages kind of void of new videos and photographs. But there is this. This is new. LA Magazine now reports that David has hired a prominent celebrity defense attorney, Blair Burke.
Oh, look at Bruno.
Now, she has represented very high-profile clients: Harvey Weinstein, CeeLo Green, Bruno Mars, Britney Spears, Lindsay Lohan. She also, by the way, most recently represented Monica Cementelli, the Los Angeles mom who was sentenced to life in prison for the 2017 murder of her celebrity hairstylist husband, Fabio Cementelli. So to talk about this, to talk about the implications of these new details, particularly hiring a defense attorney, let's bring in our own criminal defense attorney and former prosecutor, Matt Mangino. To be clear, Matt doesn't represent us in a criminal arena, but we love having him on. He's a great guest. Matt, it's really good to see you. So a lot of online sleuths in the true crime community, they are obsessed with this case. They are digging into David's past internet activity, his posts that are either with Celeste, believed to be with her, believed to be about her. There's been a lot of reaction to his hiring of Blair Burke. Before we even get into what the reaction is online, your thoughts on him apparently, reportedly, retaining Blair Burke?
Well, look, I can tell you right now, and I know you're not asking me. Yeah, you better get an attorney. I mean, what are you gonna do? Not get an attorney? Especially if you have the money to. You're gonna want to hire a good one. Although, yeah, this is gonna suck. It's gonna be bad.
Well, that's a good decision. Anytime your name starts swirling around in a criminal investigation, even though the police have made it clear that he's not a suspect at this point.
Yeah, they're not going to tell you. They don't have to tell you. Of course, he's a suspect. Bullshit. He's not a suspect. He's a suspect. There's no doubt that he's a suspect. Trust me, he's a suspect.
It's always a good idea to hire an attorney before you talk to anybody, before the police come out and talk to you or ask to talk to you. Have an attorney in place, have someone who can try to control the narrative, at least, because of course he is a celebrity and his wealth and his resources come from his celebrity status. And so you want to protect that as well. And so a criminal defense attorney, someone particularly who's represented other people who were celebrities, can be very helpful in this.
Well, I wonder what makes her so good.
This very important time.
Why do it now? Why do it now? This is after, by the way, that Celeste was ID'd. This was after apparently the property he was renting was searched by law enforcement. They reportedly confiscated some materials. This is after he canceled his tour.
He's not a person of interest, and he's not a suspect. But they raid his house.
After the death certificate was published. Why now?
Well, I think, let's be honest. I mean, this is kind of a strange situation. There's no question there's a connection between him and this teenage girl, very young. Her body is found in his car. He has a place, or his manager has a place nearby where he may have been staying. We can't ignore the lyrics of some of his music, which are eerily close to what the facts of this case are. Now, prosecutors are not going to file homicide charges until they know the cause and manner of death. And, as their viewers, Jesse, know that this could be an accidental death. It could have been a suicide. It's unlikely that it's natural causes. But the question is it homicide, and what was the cause of death? Once those two things are answered,
yes, it will be. But I mean, obviously, they want whatever they're going to charge him with. They're going to charge like all at one time. But I would imagine eventually that he will be charged with something. I mean, he would have to be. But I've thought that before. I'm been let down severely by law enforcement many times. And let's see. Nope, never did. Thank God. It would be a horrible thing.
I think.
But no, they never did.
I think this investigation, really picks up some steam.
Talking law here, who, by the way, are experts in litigation? Our sponsor, Morgan & Morgan. This is America's largest.
Yeah, we get
other client by clicking the link below. What is she doing behind the scenes? In other words, most people think criminal defense attorney. Oh, once you're arrested, right? Once you're indicted, once you're charged, once the criminal process starts, that's when you hire a defense attorney. What could she be doing behind the scenes now? Could she be back channeling communications with her sources, potential sources with law enforcement, the prosecutor's office, seeing whether or not charges are afoot? Could she be trying to tell them what her client is up to? Could she be releasing a statement? Should we expect a statement from her in the next few days?
Yeah, well, so a seasoned, experienced criminal defense attorney has a lot of contacts. So you have people in the prosecutor's office that you have relationships with, whether they be attorneys or detectives. You have people in the police department that you have long time relationships with. What you want to do, at this point is get the lay of the land. I mean, what direction is this going in? What are they looking at? We know that his home was searched, I believe. And so you want to know what was found there if, in fact, they want to share. Also, maybe this is a situation where the most serious charge is going to be, abuse of a corpse or illegal disposal of a body. Well, now you want to try to control that narrative and begin to say, hey, my client has nothing to do with this, whatever the situation may be. So you want to know, knowledge is key in this situation. Intelligence, what can I find out so that I can protect my client, not only from criminal prosecution, but the public scrutiny that may come with all this.
I'm curious your thoughts on these comments. So according to Fox LA, people online have said a lot of things. You had one person who commented, "Oh, you cannot pay me enough to defend this dude. The evidence against is as big as Mount Everest." Another said, "Hiring a high-profile lawyer usually means you're guilty and just hoping for a lighter sentence." But of course, you had one social media user who pointed out, in the court of law, he is innocent until proven guilty, and hiring legal representation is within his and anyone's right and doesn't make anyone guilty. Matt, thoughts on those?
Well, I think the last comment I think is the wisest comment, because listen, we don't even know what the circumstances are here. I'm sure he's feeling some pressure, whether it's from online, he canceled his tour. He realizes correctly that he needs some professional help. He needs someone to guide him through this situation, whether he's involved in it or not, because he's been involved in it now by implication, by public scrutiny. And for an entertainer, for a celebrity, that's extremely important. So he has to make sure that he navigates this with the best possible advice. I'm sure he has some sort of media people who are crisis management who are also helping him with this. But, you need to have a team together to make sure that you're dotting the I's and crossing the T's in terms of how you best protect yourself in this situation.
Just want to put a point on this. Would it have been wise for him to have retained a criminal defense attorney the minute it was reported that a body was found in a car registered in his name? Or, and put that aside, that's one part. And B, just to be clear, this does or does not indicate that there could be a prosecutorial decision soon. In other words, that there could be an arrest, that there could be an indictment, something of that nature. Just want to put a point on those two.
Yeah, so Jesse, there's a couple ways of looking at that. So number one, it's strange to be out on tour and say, hey, a body was found in your car. But on the other hand, he may say, well, geez, I don't know anything about this. I don't know how this happened, or somebody else has access to my car, and think, well, this isn't going to come back on me. But then all of a sudden, as you see this churning in the media and, on social media, now maybe you say, geez, maybe I better get an attorney. Okay. That could be part of the thought process as well here. But on the other hand, I think your point is well made. Someone may have called from the DA's office, says, listen, we're getting some preliminary reports from the coroner. We don't have a coroner's report yet, but you should get a lawyer. And those are the kind of things that could happen here. I mean, we're speculating, but I could see it, from both perspectives.
So let me ask you this real quick about the timeline. So last year, Celeste was apparently reported missing several times, having apparently run away from her home in Lake Elsinore, California. She had been seen on earlier surveillance video outside of a liquor store in that area before apparently jogging out of frame. This was believed to have been the last time that she was seen, at least on camera. The timeline has since shifted. We talked about this on a previous sidebar, but after TMZ obtained surveillance footage that appears to show Celeste on September 8th, 2024. So this is months after she was reported missing. According to TMZ, the Ness video came from neighbors who said that her family was kind of upset, or she was upset about some kind of ding-dong ditch prank. There's apparently yelling. There's the use of racial slurs. It's unclear if Celeste had returned home at this point or was just stopping by, but it is a chilling detail. You know, this was exactly 1 year before her remains.
But one thing that I'm missing, they don't bring up they're not bringing up the age thing much. Like, I think that's like huge in this case.
Would be found in that.
It doesn't mean that he killed her. I understand that, but holy shit.
Tesla.
It's like in middle school.
When we're talking about the
It's like in middle school.
timeline, when we're talking about, Matt, about when she may have been killed, how long she could have been in that car, what were her movements or actions before her death, how significant is this in the investigation? And again, he retains an attorney after all this footage comes out. I'm not saying it's connected at all, not saying it's related at all, but I have to imagine this footage is significant.
Well, yes. I mean, the timeline is always important. Trying to determine, when this potential homicide or when her death occurred, where she was, immediately before that, if you can piece that together, because, that tells us some very important things. Number one, where was David at that time? When you allege that her death occurred, that's significant. Were there other people possibly involved? Was there other connections to her? Where were those people at that same time? So timeline is always something that prosecutors and investigators want to go back and establish, because it puts people in specific places when a potential crime occurred.
And I got to ask you about this. Okay, so there's new reporting from TMZ, News Nation, ABC News that apparently shows that Riverside County Sheriff's deputies, they were called out to Celeste Lake Elsinore home 11 times over 14 months between February 2024 and April 2025. Now, it's not clear how many of those calls involved Celeste, maybe involved other members of the family, but there is an important note here that News Nation reports that police acknowledged that deputies visited her home twice on March 19th, 2024. So that's the same day that she was seen outside that liquor store. Celeste's ex-boyfriend, or parent ex-boyfriend, a boy named Damian Hernandez, spoke with TMZ about his middle school relationship with her, telling the outlet that Celeste had a tough home life. TMZ's Charles Latibaudiere told Ashley Banfield, he said that she would say that her parents were really mean and that she didn't like being at home. Okay, Matt, so how critical is that part to this investigation?
Well, I think it's critical because, it appears there's a period of time where she's unsupervised by any adults. I mean, we're talking about the age of 14 years old. She's not at home. Where is she? What is she doing? There's a lot of questions that need to be answered. Was she attending school? How is she getting to school? I mean, there's a lot of things that you could piece together. I mean, we're talking about a child, essentially, who is missing and is unsupervised. And where is she and how is she continuing to exist in the system, maybe without attending school, without, children's services being involved? There's a lot of questions with regard to that.
And I go back to this point. You mentioned it before. Why would he hire a criminal defense attorney, or reportedly do so? Because he may not actually be responsible for what happened here. He may not be attached to this in any way. There's something that's been circulating here. At least I've been trying to make the point that is.
Sorry, Jess. There's no way that he's not attached to this in any way. This was his girlfriend, an underage girl that was with him, that had matching tattoos with him. Come on, Jesse. You know better.
Is it possible that he's being targeted? What do I mean by that?
No.
I think it's really odd, the circumstances of where Celeste's body was found. Because here's what we know from police about how this whole investigation got started.
Targeted.
So the Tesla is marked as violating street parking rules on August 27th, 2025. A parking citation is issued September 3rd. September 5th, it is impounded. Celeste's remains were found September 8th. Days later, detectives with LAPD's robbery homicide unit, they served a search warrant at the nearby home that David was apparently renting. They took out several bags of evidence. Exactly what it is, we don't know. He canceled his tour. And on the same day that Celeste's body was released to her family, movers were apparently seen taking things out of this LA rental home And the homeowner told TMZ that David's
Or-
manager, Josh Marshall, had told
I mean, he was. It seemed like that's what he was doing currently. What is he? 20? How old is he?
them that they'd be breaking the lease. Okay, let me ask you this. It is strange for someone to, let's say, kill Celeste, put her in this car, and their body's been decomposed. That car has apparently been sitting there in public view for quite some time. There's reportedly been complaints about it, citation, it's been towed. It seems to me, is it possible somebody wanted...
Okay, so he's 20 and she hadn't turned 15 yet.
that body to be found and wanted that body to be found in the car that was registered to David, as opposed to someone committed a crime, they panicked.
Why not just date somebody your own age, dude?
They didn't have enough time to dispose of the body. That feels incredibly, incredibly sloppy. I mean, I'm not doing a conspiracy theory here, but I do wonder if that's something that has to be explored.
Well, I think everything has to be explored, Jesse. And you know, it struck me when I read some of the news reports that, you know, his one hit song specifically talks about dragging a person and putting them into the trunk of a car. And we learn now that based on this incident that's occurred, you know, he's back on the Billboard charts with this same song. It's returned. We live in strange times. It's
Yeah, I mean, that is a factoid of all factoids.
You know, it's
Yes, he has a song. What was the name of his song? It was Romantic Homicide. In 2022, he had a song called Romantic Homicide. Unbelievable. Where he talks about putting a dead body in the trunk of his car. And then it just so happens that a dead underage girl that he's supposed to be dating and living with ended up in his car. That he's either the unluckiest person in the world or the dumbest person in the world and a killer. I'm just saying, those are the options.
sometimes, you know, bad news can be as profitable
Thank you, Kat. I appreciate that. Kat, gifting 5 Lab After Dark memberships and new members. Welcome and thank you.
as good news for a celebrity, for an artist. So could this be someone who's trying to replicate the song? Is this some effort to get the music back into the public domain where people are going to start listening to it, that it ends up on the Billboard Top 100? Like I said, Jesse, sometimes we don't know the difference between good news and bad news and how it impacts you. And I think something like that needs to be thoroughly examined as well.
When do you think we'll get an answer? When do you think we'll get more information?
Well, as soon as the medical examiner's report comes down, that report is going to provide us with the cause of death. But we do have a decomposed body, so that could take a little more time. And it's also going to give us the manner. And if the manner of death is homicide, then this case is going to explode. If it's undetermined, that might be another issue that has an impact on what direction this investigation goes.
Well, one thing I didn't ask you is, do you think he had, you know, there was reporting about he's been cooperative with law enforcement. An LAPD commander says couldn't confirm whether he's been cooperative. Do you think at some point in the last month or so, he has spoken with law enforcement? He sat down for an interview?
Wow. If he did that without an attorney, then he made a huge mistake. And
You made a huge mistake, but I like it. But it is a huge mistake, but I like it.
I don't say that that means he did anything wrong. I'm just saying anybody who is a potential suspect or is being investigated by the police, who sits down with the police without an attorney, has made a grave mistake.
But I still like it.
Matt Mangino, let's see where this goes next. Really appreciate you taking the time.
Thank you, Jesse.
She wasn't in water. She was just, they just found her in the trunk of his car. They don't even know. They don't know how she died or anything. Let me see. I can do one more. Oh no.
We're diving a bit more into the apparent activity, the movements, the tracking of recording artist David as a body of a young girl was found in a car that was registered to him. Plus, we also have just seen brand new footage of this victim, Celeste Rivas Hernandez, from September of 2024. This completely shakes up the timeline. You couple that with the newly released death certificate, it's time to get into some updates in this mystery. Welcome to Sidebar, presented by Law and Crime. I'm Jesse Weber. When it comes to the continuing investigation into the teenage girl who was found in a trunk of a car registered to 20-year-old singer David, while yesterday's sidebar was about her movements, her activity, now we're going to talk about him. I mean, where is he right now? We don't even know. And this is going to be a very much David-centered discussion. But before we even talk about him, there are two big updates we got to address that came out after our recording from yesterday. New footage, new document, and it regards the victim. It regards Celeste Rivas Hernandez, whose decomposed, dismembered body was found by a...
That's what I'm saying. Like, who finds somebody overdosed or something and then cuts them up and sticks them in the trunk of a car? Who doesn't call 911 when you find somebody dead? That's what I'm saying. Like, this was not an accident. Nobody does that.
Authorities in that 2023 Tesla that was impounded in a Hollywood tow yard out in Los Angeles. Well, first of all, her death certificate has been released. We'll talk about that. Not really a bombshell, okay? It lists things we already knew, like how she was found on September 8th, 2025 in a vehicle. The cause of death has been deferred. The manner of death is pending. When we talk about manner of death, that could be, homicide, accidental. But this, again, is not surprising because there is still an ongoing investigation, and it's consistent with the reporting that we've seen so far. And while the death certificate confirms that an autopsy was performed, reporting suggests that the medical examiner is waiting on the results of toxicology examinations. Now, this is interesting. The death certificate indicates that Celeste apparently was not pregnant at the time of her death, nor had she been pregnant in the last year. And this comes as there has been a lot of speculation about her relationship, her connection with David. So we're going to talk about him. We're going to talk about his movements. Before we do that, one more thing about Celeste, and this is big. So in our previous episode of Sidebar, we talked about how Celeste had reportedly run away in the past, and there were surveillance footage from March of 2024 that was released. It was taken from a local liquor shop in Lake Elsinore. She apparently lived nearby. That's about 75, 76 miles away from where her body was found in that Tesla. Now, that footage seemingly captured her walking and then jogging down a street. She turned the corner and she disappears from view. We thought this may be the last known footage of her before she vanished and ultimately was found in that Tesla this year. Turns out there is new footage. There is additional footage that we have to talk about. This came out after we did our recording yesterday. So TMZ obtained footage of what appears to be Celeste in September 2024. So that is different from the timeline.
So September 2024.
That we had all understood, right? The one that we thought she went missing in April of 2024. In this footage that was captured on Nest camera on September 8th, 2024, and apparently provided by neighbors, it seemingly shows Celeste upset, arguing with people, reportedly over...
I don't care if somebody's dead and you dismember them. If they die accidentally and you dismember them, should you be a part of society anyway? No, I don't think so.
A prank that was pulled on her parents' home, potentially ding dong ditch. TMZ reporting that racial slurs may even have been used during this altercation. And also, according to TMZ, a neighbor's boyfriend went over to Celeste's family home afterwards to say sorry, but Celeste's dad reportedly didn't seem to be too upset by the whole thing. Okay, the reason this is important, again, the reason this is key is because it shows Aleste, or apparently shows Aleste, alive at Lake Elsinore in September of 2024 after
He keeps calling it Elsinore, but it's Eleanor. The S is silent.
she had disappeared, after she was missing, and apparently was on missing persons posters since April of 2024. Also, TMZ points out that September 8th, when this happened,
Okay, so now they're saying that she was on missing persons posters from April, but they have footage of her at her parents' house in September.
is the day after her 14th birthday. And by the way, in a chilling twist, that is 1 year before she was found in that car. She was found in that car one day after she would have turned 15 years old. Hey everybody, this is another law and crime legal alert. There are allegations right now claiming that the online apps draft companies, if this video shows what it appears to show, that could be quite significant as we're tracking whatever she was up to, whatever her movements were, a timeline leading up to her death. But now you go back to David, real name David Anthony Burke, okay? This 20-year-old performer. What were his movements? What was his activity? Now, to be clear, authorities haven't identified him as a suspect. They haven't identified him as a person of interest, nor has he been implicated in any crime or implicated in any wrongdoing whatsoever. By the way, they haven't identified any suspect or person of
Yet. I can identify the wrongdoing. He's sleeping with an underage girl.
interest. But look, her body was found in the trunk of a car that was registered to him out of Hempstead, Texas.
That would implicate him in the crime, wouldn't it? If a dead person ends up in his car.
So let's just start at his social media activity, for example, okay? A key period
Oh my God. Nice guitar.
of time. As we reported yesterday, the car was apparently on that block in Hollywood Hills for quite some time before it was towed and impounded. The car was ticketed apparently 11 days before Celeste's body was found inside. So on August 27th, a parking enforcement officer marked the car. September 3rd, the officer issued a citation for violating a 72-hour parking ordinance. September 5th, it was towed. September 8th is when the body's found. And neighbors reportedly told NBC Los Angeles that that car had maybe been there for about a month. Okay, so now you look at some of David's social media.
I don't believe the car was reported stolen. No. But I mean, that would bode well in his favor if it was stolen.
Media clips leading up to the discovery of Celeste's body in this car. These are all on Instagram, by the way. So September 1st, there's a video of him giving a hug to singer Kaliuchis on stage. September 2nd, there's promotion of a collaboration with Fortnite. Underneath an animated picture of David, it says, tomorrow, David, Fortnite, locked and loaded, official Fortnite anthem music video drops on all
Fortnite sucks.
platforms at 5 p.m. Eastern. I started making music for my Fortnite montages 3 years ago. Man, this is crazy. Thank you. September 5th, he posts a selfie in the mirror, the caption, I start media
Because tonight will be the night when I will fall for you.
training tomorrow. Guys, wish me luck, with a kind of a worried face emoji. September 7th, there is a post promoting his album release. It says, Withered Deluxe, Morescence out September 19th. Now, he was also on tour when a lot of this was going on, and I want to talk about that too. So apparently he kicked off the tour on August 5th in Del Mar, California, with stops in Dallas, Atlanta, New York, Philadelphia, Detroit. This is according to USA Today. Actually, as reported by TMZ and the Gazetteer, he also performed at the Warfield out.
It looks like he used a Q-tip. Somebody beat his ass with a bottle of peroxide. Smacked him right over the head. Just whooped his ass with the peroxide bottle. Just beat the shit out of him with one.
in San Francisco in July 2. This is before the tour fully kicked off. But his tour was canceled. His tour was canceled before he was set to perform on Friday, September 19th in San Francisco, and out in Los Angeles on September 20th. And while an exact reason hadn't been disclosed, it did seem to coincide with this investigation into Celeste's death ramping up. He was also supposed to go, by the way, international The tour had dates, at least 9 European tour dates, shows that were listed on Ticketmaster. There was one for October 1st in Norway. There was a scheduled Grammy Museum appearance in Los Angeles. That was pulled too from the venue's website. His label, Interscope, told TMZ that all promotion for David, including his deluxe album release, that was being paused. And I will say, this wasn't immediate, by the way. So when Los Angeles authorities found a body in this Tesla that was registered to him, before the body was positively identified as that of Celeste, he went on stage in Minneapolis. At this concert, he even handed out Labubus to the crowd. But TMZ reported that once Celeste was ID'd, his tour was canceled. And that included an upcoming show in Seattle. By the way, I asked retired detective Matt Irvine about the tour dates too and David's movements. Here's what he had to say.
Well, again, as you said, we don't know for sure when she was placed in the front trunk of that vehicle, but we're now hearing it could have been as far back as early August of this year or a month or so before she was discovered. That's consistent with some of the reporting that we're hearing in terms of communication Celeste was having with friends, which appear to have stopped sometime in late July or early part of August of this year. So it is quite likely that that is when this child's life ended. The fact that she's been reported as weighing only 70-something pounds upon her autopsy, I think is significant. This is a child, again, according to the missing posters, that weighed about 120 pounds or more when alive. So that suggests that she's been deceased for a while and that significant decomposition occurred before she was found.
Wow.
One other thing, I think when we first started covering this case, there was an understanding that maybe that car was only there for a few days. And one of the scenarios that we came up with, well, perhaps whoever did this, they didn't have enough time to take that next step, moving the car, doing something with the body. But if now we're listening to this and that car was there for a prolonged period of time, doesn't that tell you something, whether it's they wanted the car to be found, whether they wanted it there, whether or not they had the ability to get to it in time? But if the car was there for a prolonged period of time, doesn't that tell you something else about who may have done this, or maybe not who may have done this, but what the motivations or the actions were of the person who put her body in the car?
Well, what it does
I mean, what was the question? That was a long ass question.
Body in the maybe not who may have done this, but tell you something else.
But if the question again, Jess,
was there for a prolonged period of time, doesn't that tell you something? Get to it in time. But if the car was there for a prolonged period of time, doesn't that tell you to get the car to be time, enough time? He's
deceased for a while.
this is the longest question I've ever heard.
One other thing, I think when we first started covering this case, there was an understanding that maybe that car was only there for a few days. And one of the scenarios that we came up with, well, perhaps whoever did this, they didn't have enough time to take that next step, moving the car, doing something with the body. But if now we're listening to this and that car was there for a prolonged period of time, doesn't that tell you something, whether it's they wanted the car to be found, whether they wanted it there, whether or not they had the ability to get to it in time? But if the car was there for a prolonged period of time, doesn't that tell you something else about who may have done this, or maybe not who may have done this, but what the motivations or the actions were of the person who put her body in the car?
Well, what it does suggest is that the car was abandoned in this Los Angeles neighborhood at about the same time that David Burke's tour schedule would have made him.
Yeah, let me add that because CNN reported that he began his tour in early August, was even set to go overseas to Europe next month.
Look, if somebody borrowed his car, then you would think that the police would need to talk to that person immediately.
Been canceled. It was interesting because TMZ reported that he had a San Francisco show at the end of July, and the official tour started August 4th in Del Mar.
It was so long.
So there,
and then he changed it up 4 times.
I think is the timeline there. Talk to us about it.
Well, again, those early tour dates were all in West Coast cities, in places where he could presumably get back to Los Angeles without a great deal of trouble. it's about August 15th. And for
Bro, I could hop on a flight right now and be in LA in like an hour.
a couple weeks after that, that he's pretty solidly in the eastern part of the US, in Canada, and I think one or two Midwest states. All of those locations
Flight from San Francisco to Los Angeles is like 40 minutes.
with pretty much back-to-back tours, that is pretty much every night, would make it very difficult for David Burke to return to the Los Angeles area. So I don't know if there was any intention to have the vehicle or the body discovered, but it seems like from about August 15th forward, it would have been very difficult for David Burke to return to Los Angeles for any reason, including to move his car.
But with the tour canceled, there was another development too. So according to News Nation, a private investigator who apparently reviewed the initial complaint regarding the car, regarding the Tesla, said that the car was parked about 150 feet away from a multi-million-dollar property that David was apparently renting. And it was
Oh, yeah. Okay. So in his car, right down the road from his place. Gotcha.
was reported that David recently broke that lease. The New York Post saying it was for $20,000 a month, and he moved all of his stuff out of there. The
Probably a good move.
Daily Mail apparently obtained photos of large boxes being moved out of that house on September 24th. So this is about a week after the property was searched by authorities pursuant to a search warrant. TMZ reported that
Even if drugs are involved, to me, that does not explain the dismemberment.
they maybe were looking for blood evidence or hair sample evidence. NBC reported that law enforcement sources were saying police were looking for various things, including digital devices that may contain material potentially linking Celeste to that property. TMZ reported also that LAPD detectives left with a computer and several evidence bags. An LAPD spokesperson told People, quote, several items of evidence were recovered and will be analyzed by detectives in the coming days. Investigators are following up on several leads. E! News reported that law enforcement sources with knowledge of the case said that electronics and computers were removed. Now, in terms of David, he's been radio silent. No word we've seen. We don't even know where he is right now. And while it was reported that David initially had been cooperating with the investigation, I mean, his representative reportedly told NBC Los Angeles that he's, quote, fully cooperating with the authorities. Los Angeles Police Department Captain, Commanding Officer Scott Williams couldn't confirm to People whether the singer was in fact cooperating. Williams also said to People that regarding a relationship or a romantic relationship between David and Celeste, quote, it would be premature for me to say anything. We're looking into everything. Now, TMZ reported that people in the industry believed 20-year-old David and Celeste were dating, and that many believed she was actually 19 years old. She was actually in the 7th grade, by the way. And right now, there are those, particularly online, who are analyzing any potential link, any potential evidence of the two of them seen together.
Kat, I don't know if he's directly responsible for it, but I mean, you know, he'll get it if they believe that he is guilty and they charge him, he'll get his day in court.
Whether it was apparently a photo, whether it was a live stream.
Like somebody beat the shit out of him with a peroxide bottle. Who said that? It was a good idea to do that. It's like a tumbleweed.
There has also been reporting that they shared the same tattoo on their fingers.
That looks nice there.
Which was apparently a key identifier of Celeste's body. Now, there are individuals who have looked to clues in his shows or his songs for alleged connections to Celeste. And to be clear, nothing has officially been verified. Here's the thing. Even if you look at lyrics from his song Romantic Homicide from back in 2022, this is what seems to be creating the conversation. The lyrics say, I mean, even in the back of my mind, you died. And I didn't even cry. No, not a single tear. But again, nothing remotely to suggest this has anything to do with Celeste. Now, I also sat down with criminal
Maybe this was a forethought.
defense attorney William Corman. We did a full sidebar on this.
So he sings about a romantic homicide. The girl that he was dating ends up dead in his car or his trunk. 150 feet from where he lives, dismembered.
And I asked him, okay, if you're
Okay.
representing David right now, what should he be doing? And what do you think his attorneys are up to? What would you advise him if you were representing him right
I would advise him not to say a word. Just be quiet. Shut up.
now?
Not to say anything and not to do anything.
Dude, I could be a lawyer. That shit's easy right there.
If I were his attorney, what I would advise him to do is lay low, do nothing, don't obstruct the investigation, but we're under no obligation to cooperate with it either. And just let your lawyers do what they need to do in order to get from point A to point B. I would imagine there's some communication. And what it really is you're informing the prosecutors of where your client is, your client's availability. What you don't want is for them to come into your client's house in the middle of the night and arrest them. In a situation like this, I reach out to prosecutors where I think I have a client who's a suspect. I say, look, you know me. Let us know where you need us to be. We will turn ourselves in at any moment rather than you coming to my client's house or my client's
Yeah, how'd that work out for OJ?
place of business, 10 officers deep and taking down the door.
Well, it says right here that she was dismembered and decomposing. So she definitely was dismembered from everything that's been reported.
Let's cooperate with you. You know what we're going to do. We're going
If you look at the top right there, it says new evidence, Shake Up Thailand in David Tesla dismembered body case.
to turn ourselves in if and when it gets to that stage.
A decomposed body wouldn't be as suspicious, but a decomposed dismembered body is a way different deal. I mean, they're both terrible.
I'm also going to tell you this. The death of Celeste has had notable ripple effects for David. So on one hand, aside from the pause on his tour and his album, it was announced that Crocs and Hollister had pulled promotional images of the singer from their marketing campaigns after this body was found in the car registered to his name. On the other hand, on a benefit, Vice reported that on September 13th, he gained over 22,000 followers on Spotify, an over 250% increase. On social media, he gained over 25,000 new Instagram followers. He has 2 million on Instagram right now, 4 million on TikTok, almost 2.3 million on YouTube. So perhaps suggesting people's interest in this case or him growing in popularity because of all this news. Not entirely clear, but significant nonetheless. It was notable what LAPD Captain Scott Williams also said to People. And when I say People, I mean People magazine. As we think about David and we think about this investigation, he said, "We know for sure that Celeste Rivas Hernandez died and someone placed her body in the front trunk area of David Burke's Tesla," so officially confirming that it was his car. "We know that the Tesla had been parked at the location from which it was towed for several
No, it's dismembered and decomposed.
weeks. So it is very likely Celeste Rivas Hernandez had been dead for several weeks prior to her body being discovered. The Los Angeles County Medical Examiner has not determined a cause or manner of her death, so we don't know for sure if anyone has any criminal culpability for her death beyond the concealment of her dead body. In other words, did someone find her dead? Did she die under other circumstances? They panicked and
Let me see here. So yeah, he was definitely seeing her.
tried to hide the body. Now, having said all that, and while there's no concrete verified evidence attaching David to the death of Celeste, again, he's not a person of interest, not a suspect.
I'm looking
I
great.
did
All I
ask
see is
William Corman
dismembered.
what an arrest would look like in this kind of case. If there is some sort of action in this case, What will it look like, and what can we expect?
I imagine that the first thing that would happen is there would be an arrest of David. I'm imagining,
Or someone else?
or someone else, right? Someone will be arrested in this case, I imagine. And if it is somebody like David, whose attorneys have already been in touch with the prosecution, they'll most likely arrange a time for him to turn himself in. If it's someone else, someone random off the street, someone whose name we don't even know, that person could obviously just be arrested at the spur of the moment.
But that's where the investigation is right now.
What was
Of David.
What an arrest would look like.
I mean, of course, they're just not saying that he's a suspect. They don't have to say that. We've seen, you see these cat and mouse games all the time. He's obviously a suspect. How could he not be a suspect? I mean, it was a young girl, 7th grader that he was seeing, and how obviously found in his car registered to him 150 feet away from a house that he was renting. I mean,
In this kind of case, if there is some sort of action in this case, what will it look like, and what can we expect?
I imagine that the first thing that would happen is there would be an arrest of David. I'm imagining,
Or someone else?
or someone else, right? Someone will be arrested in this case, I imagine. And if it is somebody like David, whose attorneys have already been in touch with the prosecution, they'll most likely arrange a time for him to turn himself in. If it's someone else, someone random off the street, someone whose name we don't even know, that person could obviously just be arrested at the spur of the moment.
But that's where the investigation is right now. We will see what happens next. We will continue to follow updates here on Sidebar. And as always, thank you so much for joining us and following us. You can follow us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, wherever you get your podcasts. And you can follow me on X or Instagram. I'm Jesse Weber. I'll see you next time.
later, Jeff. Appreciate it. Okay. Oh, there we are. All right, guys. I appreciate you. Thank you for being here. Thank you for the likes and the keeping the comment section classy. Muscles, thank you. And thank you guys for everything and for being here. Just me. It's good to see you. Y'all have a good night. I appreciate it. Oh, he's a suspect. He's got to be. Would make no sense. None. All right, guys.
Ladies and gentlemen,
Here's the intro outro.
Lab After Dark is starting shortly.
I don't know. I mean, I don't know if you're wrong or not. I just don't know. It's just all I've heard was that. Wolf Rider, 28 months. Was that what it said? Let me check that. 28 months, Wolf Rider. I appreciate you.
Lab After Dark is starting soon.
I do not care if Dolly and Bullhorn Betty had sex. I don't care. I don't want to know, and I don't care. It's not like Clinton and Lewinsky.
Lab After Dark is starting.
I'll take things I don't give a shit about for 1,000, Alex. Oh, it's the Daily Double.
Well, you opened that Pandora's door.
I was actually just sitting down to pee, but whatever, you know.
Did you hear about this? No. But I have now, thanks. Let's just blame White Boy's skanky ass for everything. I can't stand that guy. I just called White Boy skanky ass.
What's the point in causing
Oh my god. Great.
Lab After Dark.
Cat, thank you so much for your super stick. I appreciate you. It's nasty shit. Y'all have a good night. I'm gonna puke.